I never really had a close relationship with my uncle. He was the wealthy, well-respected man in our family, the one everyone admired but never really knew. He didn't show up to family gatherings often, and when he did, he was more of a quiet observer than an active participant. So when he invited me over for dinner one evening, I was surprised. Even more surprising was what he offered me. We sat at an expensive restaurant, the kind where they barely put food on the plate but charge a small fortune. He didn't waste time on small talk. "I've been watching you," he said, his voice smooth but unreadable. "You're struggling. I want to help." I blinked. I hadn't told anyone about my problems. My financial troubles, my recent breakup, the sense of failure weighing on me. He continued, sliding a sleek black card across the table. "Whatever you need. No strings attached." My fingers hovered over the card but didn't touch it. "Why?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. His smile was tight. "Family looks out for each other." That was a lie. He had never looked out for anyone. I studied his face, searching for cracks in his composure. He was controlled, calculated. If there was one thing I knew, it was that people like him never gave without expecting something in return. "Are you in some kind of trouble?" I asked, tilting my head. He let out a quiet chuckle. "Not at all. Just making up for lost time." Bullshit. If he had guilt, he would have shown it years ago. My gut told me this wasn't about generosity. It was about something else. I glanced at his wedding ring, pristine and polished. His wife, my aunt, had always been kind to me. Too kind, considering how cold her husband was. I thought about their marriage, the way she always seemed like she was holding something together with fragile strings. "Does Aunt know about this?" I asked, my voice lower now. His jaw tightened. It was quick, barely noticeable, but I caught it. A reaction. He recovered fast, offering me another unreadable smile. "She doesn't need to." That was all I needed to hear. I leaned back in my chair, my appetite gone. Whatever this was, it wasn't just about me. He wasn't offering out of kindness. There was something beneath the surface, something he didn't want me to see. I should have walked away right then. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. And I had a feeling that whatever my uncle was hiding, it was something I couldn't ignore. The more I thought about it, the less sense it made. My uncle had never been the type to extend kindness, especially without reason. The way he had dismissed my aunt's involvement told me everything. She wasn't supposed to know, which meant I needed to find out why. Over the next few days, I paid closer attention to him. He was always meticulous, careful with his words and movements. But now that I was looking, I noticed the cracks. His phone always face down. A call answered too quickly. A message swiped away before I could catch a glimpse. I wasn't the only one struggling to eat lately. My aunt had lost weight, her usual effortless grace now tight and restrained. She smiled, but her eyes carried something heavy. Then I saw it, the moment that changed everything. I had gone to his office unannounced, under the pretense of thanking him for his offer. His secretary hesitated before letting me in, her eyes darting toward the door like she wasn't sure if she should. I stepped inside just as he ended a call. His expression shifted instantly from irritation to forced warmth. "You should call before dropping by," he said, setting his phone down. "I wanted to see you," I said, letting my eyes drift to the second glass of whiskey on the table. The one that wasn't his. A woman's perfume lingered in the air, something floral, expensive. It wasn't my aunt's scent. He saw where my gaze landed, but he didn't falter. "Long day," he said casually, reaching for his drink. "So, have you thought about my offer?" I ignored the question. "Who were you just talking to?" He exhaled sharply, shaking his head. "You should go." That was all the confirmation I needed. He wasn't just hiding something, he was protecting it. And I was willing to bet my aunt had no idea. I walked out without another word, my mind already racing. I needed proof. Not for me but for her. For the woman who had always been kind. who had deserved better than this. Later that night I did something I never thought I would do. Followed him. He left the office late, taking a different route than usual. Not home. Not to another meeting. But to a secluded restaurant on the other side of town. And there she was. Young, beautiful, draped in luxury that was unmistakably his. Their body language spoke louder than any confession ever could. He leaned in close, his hand resting too familiarly on hers. His smile too genuine. This wasn't a business meeting. My stomach twisted, but I wasn't shocked. I had expected this. What I hadn't expected was the way he looked at her, like she was the only thing in the world that mattered. I had never seen him look at my aunt that way. I pulled out my phone, my hand steady as I snapped the picture. Proof. Now I just had to decide what to do with it. I stared at the picture on my phone, the weight of it settling in. There was no mistaking what I had seen. My uncle, the man who had always carried himself with quiet authority, was completely undone in front of this woman. I could have sent the image to my aunt right then, exposed him with a single message. But something stopped me. A part of me wanted to hear it from him. I wanted to know how he justified it. The next day, I confronted him. I didn't bother pretending it was a casual visit. I walked into his office, shut the door behind me, and placed my phone on his desk, the screen still lit with a picture. His face didn't change. He looked at it, then at me, and leaned back in his chair. So, I expected denial. I expected anger. Instead, I got indifference. "That's all you have to say?" I asked, feeling something hot rise in my chest. "You don't even care that I know?" He sighed. Rubbing his temple like this was nothing more than a mild inconvenience. "What do you want, exactly? An apology? A confession?" I waited, giving him a chance to dig himself out, to say something that made this make sense. But he didn't. He just sat there, staring at me like I was the one causing the problem. "Does Aunt know?" asked, my voice quieter now. He didn't answer right away. Then, after a moment, he chuckled, low and humorless. "She's not stupid." The way he said it made my stomach twist. I had assumed she was in the dark, that she was the victim in all of this. But what if I was wrong? "I don't believe you," I said. He shrugged. "Believe what you want. But don't assume she's as innocent as you think." There was something in his tone that unsettled me. I had come here expecting a coward's excuses, but instead I was faced with something worse, certainty. He wasn't ashamed. He wasn't even hiding. And if he was right about my aunt, then I had walked into something far more complicated than I realized. I grabbed my phone and left, my thoughts spinning. If my aunt knew, why hadn't she done anything? Why stay? What was she getting out of this arrangement? I needed answers. But I wasn't sure if I was ready to hear them. I didn't go to my aunt right away. I needed to understand what I was walking into. If she already knew, then this wasn't about exposing the truth. It was about figuring out why she had chosen to live with it. So I waited, watched, and paid closer attention. And that's when I started noticing the small things. She wasn't the fragile, unaware wife I had assumed her to be. She moved with intention, spoke with a calmness that now felt rehearsed. And then there was the way she looked at my uncle, not with love, not with anger, but with something else entirely. Indifference. It was during a charity event at their house when I got my answer. She pulled me aside, her voice warm but her eyes sharp. "You've been asking questions," she said, tilting her head slightly. "That's not a habit you want to keep." I felt my stomach drop. She knew. She had always known. And she wasn't bothered. "You're really okay with it?" I asked, barely able to keep my voice steady. She took a sip of her wine, considering me carefully. "Your uncle is a predictable man. He believes his little secrets are well kept, that he's the one in control. Let him think that." I stared at her, trying to piece it together. "Then why stay?" She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Because love and loyalty aren't always the same thing. And sometimes revenge is best served slowly." It hit me then, she wasn't a victim. She wasn't staying because she was weak or afraid. She was staying because she was waiting. And whatever she was waiting for, I had a feeling my uncle wouldn't see it coming. I wanted to ask more to understand the full extent of what she meant, but she had already moved on, greeting guests like nothing had happened. I stood there, holding the weight of a truth I hadn't been ready for. This wasn't my battle to fight. My uncle thought he was the one keeping secrets, but he was the one being played. My aunt wasn't waiting for me to save her. She had been playing the long game all along. I left the event without saying another word to either of them. I didn't need to. Whatever was coming, it wasn't my place to interfere. My uncle had made his choices. And soon, he'd realize that his wife had made hers too.